and I'm going to show you one very powerful space right now. So you should be able to see here, this is my market intelligence space. And I've already pre-configured this space with a lot of context. And this is probably the most sophisticated one that I've created for the demo today, but I really wanted to start there to show you the full power of this. And here you can see that we've got really a long set of instructions. We're giving it the idea of what role this space should play as a partner to me, how I want it to report. I want to make sure that it tells me it's looked at all the sources that I've put up there, and I'll show you those in a second. And some critical instruction, focus areas, report structure, and so forth. Additionally, we've got some various files that I've included as persistent sources for this space. One of them is these key offerings of my company. And in this case, I'm showing you that I'm a CEO of a mature fintech that offers solutions to small businesses. So that's the persona we're working with today. As such, I wanted to make sure that my market intelligence space is always aware of what my company's core offerings are. And so I created a document for that, as well as my competitors. And I can show you, I kind of created the competitors I always want to keep aware of. And I've just captured some major US banks with their links and fintech players as well. And I have links to various sources of information that I, in my role, follow, which are newsletters and or news feeds for various companies in fintech and small business as well. So it will always keep that context in mind with all of my queries. Now, this first one I want to show you, I did use research for because I really, really wanted a robust output. And so I'm going to kind of I'm not going to have you sit through 9 minutes of it creating the report, but I will show you the steps I went through. But here's the output. First, I do want to show you that I have a very extensive prompt here that we've engineered over time. This isn't something that you might easily and just come out of your head that you would do this, but you get better at this over time. And Dylan and I have worked quite a bit to refine this over time for this demo. But you can see in doing so, you're going to get more out of the tool when you put more into it. So
I think too, yes, Jonah, we should mention that we know we're throwing a lot at everybody right now, and that it might be a little hard to follow. So we're actually making some follow-up documents. One of them is specifically going to go over prompt engineering. Another one will be mastering Perplexity, and then we'll have kind of a quick startup guide for the beginning. So if you can't take notes this fast, just know that we will be following up with some documents for you guys as well.
And yeah, thank you for that. And we will also provide a recording of this and the transcript as well, because this is a lot to cover in 1 hour. But the idea here is that we want to show you that these tools are ready to adopt, and they can be as sophisticated as you want to make them, right? So we'll show you some easier examples beyond this too. But this one I think is incredibly powerful. But in this case, I won't go through all of this just due to time, but I asked it to do a mandatory source check and tell me about that and give me an executive summary. I want to know about competitive landscape changes, industry trends, regulatory and compliance updates, strategic implications and actions I can take, give me any board-ready insights, and various formatting requirements. And so that prompt that I create once and I can run weekly on it, let's say a Monday, it will give me everything that's changed in the course of that 1 week. And you can see here is the output. And I'll show you the various aspects of it here in terms of the assets, steps, and sources after I go through the report. I'm not going to go too in depth here because there's a lot here. But here's my intelligence dashboard for June 23rd. I ran this yesterday because I do it on Mondays. My mandatory source check, yes, competitors, industry news, and regulatory. Here's the executive summary. I asked it to give me 3 top-line bullet points. It gave me it automatically generated this chart for me, competitive valuations, so I can see what other fintech companies, how they're doing in terms of the valuations over their strategic positioning. Landscape changes. You can see PayPal, performance metrics, Block, and so forth, all same format, comparing side by side. Gives me all of the sources. And like Dylan said, you can dive into any one of those and read the article associated to it. Industry trends. It generated this chart because it felt it would be useful to me, right? Which is the market size and the growth rate analysis. And I've got an example of how we can query to better understand this chart in a minute. It creates these generated files automatically for me, so it'll give me a table that I could easily bring into one of my own presentation decks, either for the board or for my team. It's a very, very robust output, right? I think you can see how you can tailor this to your particular needs. The regulatory timelines and so forth. It's going very in deep, but you can imagine me running this on a Monday and getting caught up on industry events and my competitors and compliance and so forth. It also summarizes some potential strategic implications and actions. Obviously, I want to bring my expertise in this to evaluate whether I think these are the implications and actions I might want to take, but it is another partner, if you will, in my ability to lead the organization, to highlight some things and then challenge it on my own. And then it's given me some board ready insights. Again, may or may not be exactly what you're looking for, but you can fine tune the prompt over time to give you exactly what you might need, right? Additionally, because that one report, maybe I didn't quite understand it, I just asked a follow-up question, and I used the search mode, explain that fintech industry trends diagram that's in this report. And it says, okay, it referenced the report to summarize the core forces, and it breaks this down into easy to understand bullet points and a good takeaway. So it actually helped me to understand that chart a little bit better. So you can see the power of being able to get a report and even query the report itself, right? What do you think? Does this seem useful to everyone? You can put in the Q&A what you think. I will just cover very, very quickly at the top of this report, as Dylan showed you in the overview. It's a pretty, all the assets, oops, sorry, here we go. These are all the assets that it generated for me, so I can easily download those. And there's, for those of you that understand, there's Python code that you can use to even pull in and generate reports in other platforms. The steps that it took, here we go. You can see this is one step that it looked at all of this information, looked at my own documents that I've uploaded. It went back and forth. It would gather information and then do a new query, even against the web and those sources. And another agent then generated the various outputs that thought I might be useful to me, creating the charts, multiple charts, and wrapped up and synthesized a lot of that and provided the report. So this is where, this differs in having a multi-agent response to a query is very different to a ChatGPT. Go out, find information once, synthesize it, and provide an answer. This is actually doing some reasoning and back and forth, and multiple agents with different capabilities to generate reports and so forth. 92 sources on this. You can even look at those. Sorry, the prompt is lot of 92 different sources that you can dive into. You can tell how your Monday morning could easily get you up to speed on the state of the landscape and competitors and such.
And in the chat as well, it's a lot of people are sharing that they're finding this very useful, Jonah. So